They are trying to be like these alpha males, but they don't realize how pathetic they look. They try to make you enraged. That's what they do. That's how they monetize. That's how they get clicks.
What is the state of role models for men? Who are the people that they're looking to for advice?
It's not only men. I can't think of good female role models. Influencer women have glamorized being child-free. And deep down, you know they're miserable. This is like a very unpopular opinion. I blame the women, which I'm probably gonna get destroyed for saying that.
If you were to talk to the Gen Z men who are watching this episode, what do Gen Z women want? And welcome back to The Brief. We are joined today by the Emily Austin. Emily is an American journalist. She's a social media influencer and a political commentator. But perhaps most importantly, she is also part of Gen Z. Emily, thank you so much for joining us today.
So nice to be here. It's so exciting.
So, Emily, there was a weird incident in a nightclub in Miami Beach just a few weeks ago. And some of our viewers might be familiar with some of the characters involved, people like Andrew Tate and another individual who shall remain nameless. But there were these other people that I personally have never heard of before. Sneeko, Clavicular, who is the protege of the looks maxing movement. And the more I started researching this bizarre incident, the more I came across the term manosphere. So even though I think I'm only like 6 months older than you, I'm going to sound like a boomer for a second. As someone who has tapped into Gen Z in a way that I am not, can you just explain and educate myself and educate our viewers, this whole Clavicular, Sneeko, Andrew Tate manosphere? What is that? What is the manosphere? And why are so many people invested in it?
So in their mind, they've created this sphere of men that are these new generation, which is funny because Andrew Tate is like a father, if I'm not mistaken, and should be one of his children, and he's not anywhere near Gen Z, and his bald head could attest to that. Um, they are trying to be like these alpha males, but they don't understand that. I don't mean it in a derogatory way, how homosexual they come off. So I know they're trying to portray this like masculine testosterone, like we're these alpha men and women go to the kitchen and cook, but they're really just another Gen Z term. They're so busy glazing each other. I'm not going to define what glazing is because I use it in a casual way, but it's actually not a PG term to use. They're so busy glazing each other that they don't realize how pathetic they look. And let's talk about this club thing for a minute. Shabbos, I'm very upset that I feel the only reason this came to light is because Jews were so busy condemning it. Because these losers live stream their entire lives because they have no value for privacy or like personal being, that they just live stream everything. What they gain out of these live streams is they try to rage bait people, another Gen Z term. They try to make you enraged. That's what they do. That's how they monetize. That's how they get clicks. Now, playing Hail Hitler at a club is obviously disturbing. I think anybody with half a brain could understand it's not the right thing to do. The fact that some people like Hitler is more my problem these days. But they did it to get a reaction. And what did we do? We gave them exactly what they wanted. We gave them the reaction. If we had all ignored it, like half of their streams do not get attention unless they pay for clipping and clippers to spread them far and wide. Like the rest of their live streams, it would have not been a big deal. But because everyone's like, oh my God, how dare you play Hail Hitler? How about the fact that, I don't know, they support Hitler? Maybe that should be the core problem, not the fact that they played it in the club. And let's not even give it air. It's like a fire that they ignite, but then we blow on it and we make it even bigger. And I wish we'd just ignore them. And then Sneeko, I'm happy you mentioned him. He converted to Islam. Great. Why are you at a club drinking alcohol? Like, are you the good representation of Islam? Because my religious Muslim friends surely don't drink or go to clubs. So I'm actually happy that they do these things because they hurt their own reputation and make themselves just unreliable.
You're touching on a lot of important points, but ultimately I sort of see this as the post-Charlie Kirk void of young men not really having good role models, which kind of brings me into my second question that I'm curious for your take on. There was a fascinating study that came out recently, and it showed that men are 3 times as likely compared to women, 16 to 5%, to pay for creator porn like OnlyFans. They're 3 times as likely, 22 to 7%, to be viewing AI-generated porn, and they're 6 times as likely to be addicted to online gaming. So post-Charlie Kirk, someone who encouraged young people, young men in particular, go to church, raise a family, have a legacy. What is the state of role models for men in particular? Like, who are the people that they're looking to for advice?
Wow, that's such a sad and important observation. It's not only men. I can't think of good female role models. Truth, I can't think of what. When people ask me who's your hero, you know it's so sad, Shabbos. I used to say Megyn Kelly.
Hmm.
So her whole crash out really hurt me on a personal level because she was someone that I looked up to growing up, and Gen Z really doesn't have role models to look up to. And it's sad because then we're left doom scrolling through TikTok, doom scrolling on X. We don't have any kind of voice of reason to keep us like moderate. It's always extreme right or extreme left get the most clicks online, and we get sucked into that echo chamber. And then you see people like Tyler Robinson becoming radicalized. You see people like I have a guy going to jail in Alabama next month because he keeps threatening Jews on Instagram and told me he's going to Charlie Kirk me. And this is like unfortunately what happens when there is no voice of reason. And
Mm.
let me tell you something. These people will never look up to people like what, clavicular? Is this like clavicle, like the bone here? I'm confused. What is clavicular?
That's where it comes from. Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the inspo? Why do you want to name yourself after a clavicle?
I do want to ask though, because unfortunately, I would agree with you that there's this dearth of role models post Charlie Kirk. Though Tim Walz, when he was Kamala Harris's vice presidential nominee, he gave a series of interesting talks where he explicitly stated that one of the reasons he believes he was chosen as VP was because, in his own words, he could code talk to white young men.
But I also was on the ticket, quite honestly, because I could code talk to white guys watching football, fixing their truck, doing that I could put them at ease. I was the permission structure to say, look, you can do this and vote for this.
Leaving aside the accuracy or lack thereof of that statement, I am curious, though, again, as someone who's tapped into Gen Z way more than I am, if you were to be able to talk to Gen Z white men, these tens of millions of disillusioned, disaffected young people, what are the practical policies that would amplify and enhance their lives? What are the things that they need, the things they're looking for in the United States?
You know, and this goes beyond like skin color, really. I'm not like trying to be liberal here. Men in general need to kind of grow up on their own. They need to go through that childish, immature phase. Like, and this is really every man that at least I know personally needs to go through that stupid phase and grow through it as well to like finally reach the maturity level because you can preach all you want, get married, have kids, find purpose in life. But I don't think men and Shabbos, I think you're like an exception, and there's a lot of exceptions, but I don't think men are biologically wired the way women are to settle and have kids. Humans are like animals. You go to a female, you impregnate, you go to the next female, like that's how men are wired. I genuinely believe that. Me, on the other hand, I'm 24, and the fact that I don't have kids bothers me every day because I think intrinsically God programmed us to like physically want to repopulate, and then men don't have that. They just kind of want to see how many they can get on their roster.
Hmm.
And I don't blame them for that. I think with maturity comes discipline. The problem is that, again, lack of a role model. None of these men encourage discipline. They encourage embracing the chaos. They want you to they teach that it's cool to have slept with a million women. They don't talk about the risks of it and the emotional distress that comes with it and the danger that comes with it too. By the way, not to mention even like population wise, we need to be having more kids. But that's the new generation of role models. It's they teach men, hey, the more girls you sleep with, the cooler you are, instead of like teaching them like having a family and kids is the most fulfilling thing you'll find in life. But these men themselves don't live those lives. Andrew Tate, how old is he? Is he in his 40s? He's single, he's unmarried, he has sex trafficking charges, he's probably going to go to jail. And that's the role model that people look up to because you say women belong in the kitchen and it's cool and edgy. Religion in the household is so important because when you follow, basically God gave you instructions and God instructs you not to go be a man whore, in other words. So when you grow up with that and you instill those values in your personality, you won't even look at that as an option. So I think you'll mature a lot quicker and not have to learn the hard way.
So let me piggyback on one of those points, though, because I think one of the most interesting exit polls that came out of the 2024 election was this gender divide amongst Gen Z. So Gen Z men who backed Trump in 2024, they rated having kids and having a family, what you were just describing, as the top of a list of choices of how to define personal success. Gen Z women who backed Kamala Harris, they rated it second to last.
How important is having kids to Gen Z?
It's not my goal in life.
It's important for me.
Why would I attribute my worth and my success to a child who didn't ask to be here?
Having kids is a really big goal of mine.
So I guess I kind of two questions for you. Number one is, where did this gender divide come from? And then number two, I agree with what you just said about the importance of having a family, getting married. What would you tell those young women who think the most important thing is to have a career, have financial success, have professional success, and kind of if there's time at the end, then I'll start my family? What would you, Emily Austin, be telling those young women?
First, I'll address the problem, which is influencer culture. Influencer women, particularly, have glamorized being child free. I think they're child free because they can't find the right man, and I think that that's sad. But obviously, nobody comes to social media and says, "Woe's me, I can't find the guy, I'm childless, nobody wants me, or I need to lose weight." Nobody shows the hard part on social media. Social media is the highlight reel. So instead of saying, "I'm childless and sad," they're gonna say, "Oh my God, I'm childless and I don't have expenses. And look, I'm doing Pilates and drinking matcha as a 35-year-old woman, and I don't need a man. They give me a headache." And deep down, you know they're miserable, but they don't want to show that on social media because you don't get views by being miserable. So they teach Gen Zers that being child free and having a dog is going to make you feel satisfied in life. And unfortunately, Shabbos, I've spoken to women. Literally, you should have her on the show. I won't name her name because I don't want to embarrass her. She said she fell into that, oh, feminism, career, have a dog, screw men. Now she's 39, she can't get pregnant. And I feel so bad for her because she was in that really strong era on TikTok that really glamorized not having kids. It was like Vine then, whatever, Instagram, social media. And now it's a little bit too late for her. What I will tell these women, you know what, Shabbos, also, and this is a problem because this goes back to like pro-choice or not. I'm actually very conflicted because I know a lot of women that don't want to have kids, and I'm happy about the fact that they don't want to have kids. Like, I genuinely don't believe every person would be a good mother. And I also genuinely believe that a person is who they're raised to be. And a lot of these people who don't want to have kids would raise like the protesters you see in Minnesota, those types of people. So I'd prefer them not have kids at all. With that being said, that's not a solution. I feel like A, women need to get their BS together, but B, you know, I mean, again, like I want to use the religious argument, but people don't resonate with that because Gen Z is also the highest population of atheists in the world. Gender, what is a woman? God made us able to create a human being in our body. If that's not the most inspiring, miraculous, feminist thing in the world, there's nothing more feminist about having the flex of being able to carry a human in your body for 9 months. And then you give birth to something that's quite literally 50% of you and ideally 50% of someone that you love. Like to me, I actually believe, Shabbos, I am blessed with everything in life. The only thing I'm missing in my life right now are children. Once I have kids, I can safely say I'm the like most successful woman on the planet Earth. And I don't even understand how women don't think that way. It's the most beautiful blessing we can have.
Wow. Well said. Well said. I do want to jump off on one of those points though, because you mentioned religion. Obviously, you're committed to your Judaism. We've seen what sociologists are describing as this post Charlie Kirk bump. That Charlie, who again was all about go to church, find Jesus, get married, have kids. That in the wake of his assassination, that Gen Z, while it's true, large amounts of the population of the constituency are atheist, they're starting to reaffiliate with religious institutions. So I guess number one, anecdotally, have you seen amongst your circle of friends or as someone in the media, have you seen that that's the case, that young people are re-engaging with their faith? And then number two, what can, whether it's policymakers, whether it's the federal government, or whether it's those in the political culture, what can people do to encourage young people to reassociate with religious life in America?
Yeah, I think Hollywood set a really bad precedent of I don't know if I want to call it like worshiping Satan because sometimes it's not really that extreme, but they really don't give glory to God the way they should. And I think we're seeing a new wave of different types of celebrities, like Nicki Minaj, for example, is a really good example of people coming to, honor God publicly. I feel like, unfortunately, Gen Zers are still sheep at the end of the day. We're a very, very weak generation. We're very soft minded. We're not fighters. We've never had any trauma in our generation. We never had any sense of belonging. We never had any sense of patriotism. We didn't experience 9/11. Like, we just don't have that, intrinsic of being of like strength. We're not a strong generation, Shabbos. And I think the reason is, which is a theory of mine, is because we never had anything threatening us, which is a blessing. That's what made us so soft. But anyway,
Hmm.
point being, because we're so soft-minded, we follow celebrities. And celebrities, half of them are atheists, and the half that are not definitely don't talk about God as part of their success, as part of their livelihoods, and they should, especially the ones who actually do believe in God. But like I said, now there's a new wave, and I believe that culture shifts politics, but the culture has to be created. This new wave is, giving glory to God, and I think the more Gen Zers see that, the more they will think it's less, not taboo, but unfortunately, like they just think it's not cool.
Hmm.
You mentioned Charlie Kirk over and over again. I think he was a really good example of someone who did believe in Jesus, got married, had children. He's young, he's cool. He would go to campuses, he would make funny jokes. Like I used to see these edits of him on TikTok of like mic drop moments. And like the guy has aura. You don't have to like it, that he has aura. So I think it was just very respectable. And he showed you can have it all. You can believe in God, you can be cool, and you can be successful without losing your way. So I think that's why we see the bump. And then personally, like I always felt very alone as a Gen Zer, but today I got off the phone with my friend who works in DC. He's 24. He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to get married and have kids." And I'm like, "Oh my God, are you serious? Like, you made my day by saying that. You have no idea how rare that is for me to hear as a 24-year-old."
So we need more Gen Z role models who are invested in religion and having kids. Well said. Let me ask you one last question. This might be an unfair question because I'm going to lump a bunch of things together and just ask for your reaction. Gen Z men are more likely than any other age demographic to be investing in things like cryptocurrency, to be engaging in online sports betting, and yes, to be subscribing to OnlyFans accounts. Whether these three things are related or not, you're the expert, not me, so you'll tell me. But on a surface level, are these things net positives for society? Is this like a good thing that young people are engaging with these vices? Or am I just being like a boomer and overthinking it?
I don't think you're overthinking the OnlyFans part because there's nothing glorifying about buying women's naked pictures online. And this is like a very unpopular opinion. I blame the women, not the men, which I'm probably going to get destroyed for saying that.
Probably, yeah.
But I do believe like it's a choice to want to sell your body. The fact that it's an option, obviously men will opt into that because OnlyFans to me is a step away from porn, and porn is a huge addiction that men actually have. And the problem with porn also is that it's just not realistic. And then men set their expectations to what they see in a staged video. They don't, I think also men don't understand like porn is a production, it's a movie, it's not real. And then that's where they set the standard, and then they can't even go actually sleep with a woman because that's what you envisioned in your brain and it's all fake. So I feel like it creates a way bigger problem than actually just being addicted to porn. There's a lot more than that. But it's also addiction in general. Now, gambling is another addiction that's a huge problem. It's all about discipline and having a middle, but people don't have a middle anymore. So is it a problem? Yes, but I don't think putting crypto, OnlyFans, and sports betting in the same category is fair because I think each of them are so different.
Hmm.
You just need to be smart. Like I know people who became millionaires off of crypto, and I'm just sad I didn't ride that wave with them. I know people who are millionaires from sports betting. I know people who are in debt from sports betting. So I feel like we need to stop blaming the thing and start holding people accountable. It's like saying, the gun shot the person. No, the person behind the gun shot them. It's like saying the pencil made an error. No, you made the error. We need to just hold people more accountable and not things. Like OnlyFans can exist, and I feel like, it's similar to free speech, like free market. It does not mean that you need to engage with it because if there was no demand, there would be no supply. So it's kind they go hand in hand, but yeah, I think they're very different things to
Right.
be discussed.
I kind of like to, Emily. I have one question, then I'll shut up. We've spoken a lot about the gender divide. We've spoken a lot about Gen Z. Admittedly, as a single person, I clearly don't have a good answer for this. But if you were to talk to the many, many Gen Z men who are watching this episode, what do Gen Z women want? Do they want the white picket fence? Do they want someone who's career oriented? Like, who is it, or what is the ideal man that America's Gen Z women are after these days?
Well, I have to tell you, and not to like gas myself up or anything, but I think I am a unicorn in Gen Z, so I can only speak for myself when I say what I want in a man. And by the way, I'm so single, Shabbos. It's like this, but I personally, I need a man who is a man. First of all, not only biologically, ideally, but a guy who. This is what I tell my girlfriends, and they giggle, and some of them are like, "My husbands don't," and I'm like, "Your husband might be your wife." If there's a spider in the house, it's not a conversation who's killing it. You as the man are gonna go kill the spider. If the toilet's not working, I don't want to call a plumber. You as a man are gonna go figure out how to fix that. And by the way, I, as a woman, I don't like cleaning, but I will cook. I will be motherly. I will also provide services as a woman that we should. But men have to genuinely, like, I don't like the word dictate, but navigate how the household is. And I feel like that's a man's role. You provide, you have to be like a father, like a good discipline, like discipline the kids, be like a hands-on father, be a good husband, be loyal. Loyalty is a big problem today. And I'm not speaking from personal, I'm just speaking of like my friends tell me nightmare stories about men cheating on OnlyFans and Tinder and all these nightmare stories. But I feel like um men need to embrace their masculinity, and that's something that society has really um moved away from. They've taught men that being masculine is either really toxic or that being too soft is a good thing. That's what liberals like to preach. I feel like there's a nice middle between masculine but not being Andrew Tate and being in touch with your emotions without being a crybaby. And men just need to realize that there is that middle, because everyone that I've been, dealing with have been very extreme on either side.
Well said. Emily Austin, this has been a really insightful conversation. It's definitely been our funniest episode yet, so I appreciate it. Emily Austin is an American journalist, social media influencer, political commentator. If you are not following her on social media, you are missing out. Emily, thanks again for joining us. We appreciate it. Well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want to see a particular topic addressed, make sure to put it down in the comments, and feel free to keep the conversation going through all of your questions or yellings or rants. Find me on social media. Just type in Shabbos Kestenbaum. You're not going to find many other Shabbos Kestenbaums, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you all very soon.